When I was writing this song, Don't Give Up, I was in a very uncertain place in my life. I had just come out of a very long relationship. I was starting over. And honestly, I didn't know if my life in music was behind me. And at the same time, my love for soul music was only getting deeper. And what I was really loving about the feeling that soul music gave me was the feeling of hope. And I was in the middle of a reinvention of sorts where I was starting to teach vocals and guitar at a little place called Northwest Guitars in Bellevue, Washington, right outside of Seattle. And a special shout out to my friend Kevin Fallon and Becky, who gave me the opportunity to do that. I love you, Kevin Fallon. He is no longer with us on this physical plane. He was a wonderful, wonderful mentor. Both of them really were, that just encouraged me every step of the way. I remember I was writing my first album, and he said to me, I just finished a song called Sooner or Later, and he said to me, "You really just have no idea how good you are, do you?" And I don't know, being in that atmosphere, being in that kind of environment kept me going. I remember hearing these minor seven chords. I didn't know that's what they were at the time. It was a jazz teacher, and it was coming out of his room in Northwest Guitars, and I just fell in love with it. So I went and picked it out by ear in my little vocal teaching room. But at the same time, I started seeing the industry for what it actually is. The songs I grew up loving, artists I thought just made it, and then realizing there was a lot gatekeeping happening. And I learned from experience of my being in a band in Los Angeles in my 20s and 30s and throughout the 90s and 2000, early 2000s. People like me just don't get through those gates easily. We were a female fronted band, and radio stations would tell us they wouldn't play us because they'd already met their quota for female artists in their rotation. It's why Lilith Fair started. And at that time, it was said never put two women on a bill because they won't sell the show. And then Lilith Fair came out and just blew the lid off that, completely outselling all other festivals. But then the backlash came, and that was heartbreaking. I had built my dream around something that really wasn't built for me. And at the same time, I realized that I had to play by a completely different set of rules. Be talented, but not too much. Be visible, but not too visible. Be strong, but still be agreeable. I was raised by a single mother, and watching her navigate a single mother with two young daughters in the 70s and 80s, her coming home exhausted, I saw how much harder the world made it for her than it needed to be. And then you factor in that a third of the population that lives below the poverty line are single mothers. I mean, that's not random. That's a system. That's a system that I learned quickly. It was not designed for women. And in music, it showed up in real ways. And so, what I had romanticized for so long as a young girl, and realizing that it was not at all what I thought it was, real disillusionment set in. And then, of course, as we find out more about this industry, I mean, at one point, it's like, I could see the universe had my back. At the other point, what a great time to be alive, because now more than ever, independent artists can construct their own way using social media and building their own communities around their music, which is very exciting. There are still some parameters, whether it's visible or not, or obvious or not. The industry leaves a lot of people out, but it's pretty consistent for women. Wasn't all peace, love, and freedom like I thought it was. But again, get to construct within my own community now. And honestly, I'm really glad that I didn't get sucked into it then in the 90s in LA. Do I wish we had more opportunity to do things? Yeah, that would have been great. It would have been great to have, you know, support, touring support. It's still grassroots, but it's still a hell of a lot better than the gatekeeping alternative. So Don't Give Up Now isn't just about holding on, it's about carving your own path. It's about finding your own way. Look, I'm in my late 50s, reinventing myself, learning the process of how to record and mix my own songs. And the reason I'm sharing this with you is because I want more women crossing that 50 threshold who thought, why did I give it up? Or I can't learn that. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. And I'm here to help you do it. Everything you're about to hear now, the way the song was built, that's part of that too. You can do this. You don't need fancy equipment. You don't need someone else at the helm. Your ideas seriously are enough. Your voice is enough. I'm here. I'm figuring it out in real time. Still showing up, refusing to give in to the indoctrination and parameters that have been set by this imaginary societal agreement. And I'm here to show you it can be done. So please don't give up.
So now I'm going to show you how this song came together. Basically going to show you what's in the sauce. Now, the drums, bass, rhythm guitar, and lead vocals, yes, were recorded at a studio in Buda, Texas. However, I added the backing vocals, a lot of the wah guitar, the clean guitar, strings, horns, using Logic's strings and horns and a MIDI keyboard controller. There are no loops on this. Everything is a part that was played. Don't be disappointed when I told you that yes, you can do this from scratch. You absolutely can. If you follow me, I'm going to be recording the rest of my album from scratch using Logic Drummer, basically everything here in the box. So let me shrink up my head and let's take a look at this session, and I'm going to give you everything that's in the sauce. All right, let's start with how the song started in this recording, which was a multi-track session. Basically, we recorded drums, bass, lead guitar, my rhythm guitar, which is not in here, the original, because it just wasn't needed for this, especially after I added the wah guitars and etc. So what I'm going to do is solo Who Was There That Day, which is Badass Mary on bass, Russ Scanlon on guitar, and Johnny Radalat on drums. So you can hear how that sounded. Of course, I had to go back in and do the lead vocals because I was playing guitar at the same time, which picked up on my microphone. All right, now we're going to full in lead vocal. Now, very quickly, I'm going to tell you a little backstory here on how this band came together, which was I had moved to Austin from Seattle, and I wrote this song in Seattle. And the first people to play this with me were this fantastic group of ladies who called themselves the Dirty Girls. They were just wonderful. We got invited to play the Bluebird Cafe in Nashville, Tennessee. And so we went down there and we, of course, played there and the Limelight and a bunch of other places. They were kind enough to let me play guitar. I wasn't not solid, but I wasn't very confident as a guitar player. I'll say that much. How about that? So that's how the song started. So I go to Austin. I am touring solo through the Eastern Corridor, the 10 Corridor, basically, Southeast. And met just some of the most amazing, wackiest people, like my friend Ralph, who I'm still friends with, who lived down the street from Bank Street Bar, which is where I always play when I go to New Orleans. He and his girlfriend then, Pam, would let me stay with them. They lived across the street from a cemetery, which is where I would take my walks every day. I loved it. Just the wackiest group of people. Went to my first strip club on Bourbon Street because of them. Good times. Here's actually a very cute and funny story. So they're taking me to the strip bar because somehow it's revealed that I had never been to one. On Frenchman, we stop at this bar and we walk in and this lady's at the end of the bar and she looks at me and she says, "Honey, I don't mean to be rude, but what's a beautiful girl like you doing with these gay guys?" And I just started laughing because I was the gay one, and they were all straight. So when I told her that, she said, Donnie, let me buy you a tequila, which I took. I don't drink anymore, but then I did. Anyway, I get to Austin. I'm still touring. I decide I want to stick around Austin, and I want to start really trying to sketch out a livelihood of performing live for myself. I really wanted to take a shot. Here I am in Austin, Texas, the self-proclaimed live capital of the world. My manager and I at the time decided to put an ad in Craigslist. I really wanted to put together an all-female band. Thought the last person I'm going to find is a female bass player. First person who responds is badass Mary. She learns some songs. She comes over. I open the door. Little pixie of a thing. We're both these little shorties, little petite things. I am like, oh, this is going to be so great. I could feel it. We sit down and we play together, and I could not believe how soulful and funky she was. I was beyond, like, I was beside myself and trying to contain my enthusiasm so as not to scare her. So anyway, we started playing as a duo. She was taking music theory lessons with Russ, and asked Russ if he'd be interested in playing guitar with us. So he said, yeah. So he comes into the fold. And then one night we had reached out to this woman to help me book gigs in Austin. And so she took me to the gallery, which is right upstairs next door to the Continental Club off South Congress in South Austin. And it's kind of it's a little tiny 46-person capacity room. It's where really the musicians would go and just jam together. I didn't know that at the time. New still. So she asked Sniz if I can sit in with them. And he says yes. So he asked me what key. I just say B flat. He's like, well, what's the tempo? I kind of start snapping a tempo. The band picks up. They run through a progression, and we're off. And right there, we're doing a Sky song. And it was so much fun. And Sniz is doing all these high falsetto harmonies with me, and we just instantly hit it off. After I get off stage, this guy walks up to me and he says, hey, don't I know you? And I said, no, but I know you. It was Johnny Radelat. I had seen him play with the Greyhounds. Before I moved to Austin, I came to play during South by, and I started scoping out Austin because I knew I wanted to live there. And I had gone to the Victory Grill, was purposely looking for soul music places, gone to the Victory Grill. He and the Greyhounds were playing outside, and I just was like, who is that drummer? And you can't miss him. He's got this great curly hair. Later, I'd find out he's Cuban, and I'm part Puerto Rican, so it was awesome. I said, no, but I know who you are, and I saw you play during South by, and do you want to be in my band? And he said, okay. And that's what happened. So here we are, newly playing together. Mary finds this studio for us in Buda down the street from where she lives. We are literally just watching each other in this big room, in this big studio. We've got plexiglass up around Johnny, the drums, and I think over the bass amp. And we just go to it. And this is what we got. I'm pretty sure I think life is beautiful. Every story that's ever been told has some sorrow. And then I would take the tracks home and add the harmonies. For every breakdown, there's something there to live to. Please don't give up away. It's bigger than all of this, and I hope we'll try. Please don't give up away. Oh, you can hear that delicious delay on those vocals. All right, and this is how the song starts happening. Now I'm just going to show you how things folded in. Huge soul fan. I like to take walks, and I like to listen to soul music while I'm walking. My absolute favorite, one of my absolute favorites is Miss Aretha Franklin. She's one of those people that I just, every time I listen to her, there's some other nuance to her that I have missed, or the music. In this instance is Chain of Fools. As I'm listening, probably for the 1,000+ time ever, I hear this electric piano over panned hard to the left, kind of set back, and it's doing this bum 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 bum. And I thought, what? I love this. I love finding these little. I add electric piano, but only in the verses. So here's the electric piano. Every story that's really show how life is beautiful. Every story I love that Sly and the Family Stone also, on their funky songs, incorporate strings and horns. And I thought, I'm going to do the same thing. So I add some strings here. Okay, and then we added some horns. There's a video on how I duplicate the horn bus to make them sound more realistic. And of course, percussion. There's some shaker and tambourine in this. Also, there's a harp in here. So let me do that too, because I totally forgot. There's flute, there's harp in here. I borrowed the harp idea from Stevie Wonder's If It's Magic. And that really, don't give in, no, don't give up, let it show. Why don't you let it show? And that really, to me, was me talking to me like, why not let who you are show? Why not talk about the things that you're passionate about, not about? Why not say it? And still, I monitor myself a little bit, but it's time. It's time. If I'm asking my sisters to speak your truth, then I got to speak mine too. So that's really what this was about. And then we'll just talk about the outro real quick, because it just gets really all big, and then it's got a really cool ending, I think. Here we go. Okay, well, welcome to the Soul Kitchen. Thanks for hanging out with me on this. I hope that you will follow me on this journey to continue to record my EP. I will be putting a course together as well to share this information, and to basically, from recording to mixing to mastering to getting your songs ready for sync licensing, even if that's something you're interested in. That's been my journey. And thanks again, y'all. Peace and love.